So you've been very open about your sobriety, and I'm just curious to know, like, why make something so personal so public?
A lot of people use the word can't a lot in their brain when the reality is like, you could.
That's great.
Like, I would say to myself, like, oh, I can't go for a walk. And it's like, okay, get rid of can't and use the word shouldn't. And then try that. It's like, I shouldn't go for a walk.
Do you believe confidence comes before success and helps to like promote it, or after success?
I think confidence can certainly be boosted by success because success is sort of affirming, that you're doing a good job. But I think also success is more likely to be achieved if you have confidence prior to that. So I was just writing for like 8 hours a day on my couch and not moving around and eating the worst food. And I remember one day I was on the bus and we went over like a speed bump and I just felt my body go like, dunk. I was like, what is that?
If you weren't a comedian, what would you be doing?
Oh, I don't know. A metaphor for the entire 13 years that I spent struggling with addiction issues. So my idea was to run on a treadmill for 12 hours. The goal was to make it 100 kilometers in that 12-hour period of time. I made it 104. We achieved the goal.
Do you remember your first paid gig?
I think I remember my first paid gig. So I don't know. When I'm on the road, I do a lot of like protein shakes and protein bars and stuff. But at least, you're getting the protein. Hitting your protein goals is such a huge pain in the ass. I hate it.
100%. Or they just don't even realize how little protein they're actually eating until you start to track it.
For sure. Because some people are like, oh, you need a lot of protein. What do? You eat a bunch of eggs or something? I'm like, eggs? And don't get me wrong, eggs are great. 6 grams of protein per egg.
Yeah.
I could eat 12 eggs a day. That would bring me up to 72 grams of protein. That's still a little bit less than half of what I need. If I wanted to get my protein from just eggs, I would have to eat 25 eggs every day. And I wouldn't go too crazy, but I would probably have like 2 large coffees a day.
Sure.
And then maybe sometimes 1 at night even. I was starting to get real slutty with the caffeine, which is one of the reasons I wanted to stop. I was like, I'm treating it like drugs a little bit.
What's like your biggest food weakness?
Sugar, sweets, baked goods. I am a baked goods guy.
If someone opened your fridge right now, what would they find?
Chaos. Pure goddamn chaos.
Do you think eating healthy is actually expensive, or do people just prioritize spending differently?
It certainly can be expensive, but it doesn't need to be. I find too, when you're extremely negative, like everything is habitual, right? If you're, say, on the internet all day, making negative comments, trying to call people out for shit, being negative, when you look in the mirror later at night, you're going to be negative.
Welcome back to No Excuses Club by Protein Chefs. I'm your host, Genevieve Dubé, and today, episode 2 is a special one, near and dear to my heart, because it is a friend of mine in comedy. We have our guest today, Andrew Barr.
Hey.
Yay.
How you doing, pal?
Good, thank you. If you're not familiar with the No Excuses Club, it's a podcast for people who are passionate about success, health, nutrition, mindset, and the habits that help people become the best version of themselves. So if you enjoy that stuff, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on our videos. Today's guest has a special out called Andrew Barr Goes Nowhere. Super unique special where he ran 12 hours on a treadmill, hopped off stage, changed his clothes, stepped back on stage, and filmed an entire special somehow after doing so. He's a friend of mine in comedy and has built a strong online community and comedy career by tackling and sharing his journey with sobriety through humor. Can you explain to the viewers what the goal for it was, what you were able to achieve through it, and the symbolism that you were trying to convey?
Yeah, so the entire day was a fundraiser for the rehab center that I went to. I had been sober for about 3 years at this point, and I was feeling like pretty confident in my sobriety, and like I was doing okay. So I wanted to take an opportunity to do something to give back to the people that helped me. So cool. And the idea that I came up with was sort of to have this one big day that was sort of a metaphor for the entire 13 years that I spent struggling with addiction issues. So my idea was to run on a treadmill for 12 hours. The goal was to make it 100 kilometers in that 12-hour period of time. I made it 104. We achieved the goal. But the time spent running on the treadmill was meant to be like a metaphor for addiction itself, because being in addiction is similar to just kind of being on a treadmill. It's like you're just sort of stuck in one place and you can't move forward. You're not making any actual progress. And at first you might like feel like you're kind of having fun on there, but then a little bit more time passes and you're like, okay, this is starting to hurt a little bit. And then even more time passes and you're like, oh, I'm actually in quite a bit of pain. And you know, at a certain point you have to admit, like, I can't beat this machine that I'm sort of railing against. I have to just stop. I have to get off of this thing. And so the treadmill was meant to be addiction, and then the audience arriving, because the audience showed up about 11 and a half hours into the run.
Oh my God.
The audience arriving was meant to be like an intervention, right? It's people that I care about and they care about me showing up to be like, hey, please stop this strange thing that you're doing that is killing you. You know, that's not why that's not why we're your friend. You know, why don't you come and do that funny thing that we like it when you do? And so me getting off the treadmill was meant to be like a metaphor for a return to community, and that's the little story that I was trying to tell with the day.
Yeah, which is crazy, and you were able to raise a significant amount of money to donate back to the rehab center you went to.
I think we raised like almost $10,000 in the 12-hour period.
That's
not bad.
Amazing. That's pretty good.
Yeah, get those guys
least.
some ball hockey sticks at this or whatever at the rehab center. I don't know what they put it towards, but hopefully something fun for the guys.
Yeah, hopefully.
When I was in the house, there was not a lot to do. So.
Really? Okay, so that was kind of like your, like, please?
Yeah, although I think it's sometimes for a rehab center, it's good if there's not a lot to do. Like, I went to the cheapest one we could find, and certainly it felt like the cheapest one that we could find. But we looked at other ones, and they all had, like, horse therapy and volleyball and, like, 5-star chefs. And I'm like, I don't know, how focused are you going to be on like your recovery and stuff if there's all that like
if you just want to go back
fun right? Like it shouldn't be a good time, I don't think. So the one that I went to, as much as it was the cheapest one on the market, it also is one with a really high success rate. Great. And the staff there were like incredible.
Okay, cool. Do you want to shout them out?
Sure, yeah. The place is called Renaissance.
Okay.
They have locations in Toronto, and the one that I went to is in Brooklyn, Ontario, which is just outside of Whitby.
Okay.
And they do wonderful work.
Cool. Okay. So obviously we're both comedians. I'm just curious to know, when did you realize that making people laugh could become an actual career?
I still don't know if it can be an actual career, frankly. It's a job, definitely. I'm getting by, but I guess that's the stress of gig economy, right? It's like no matter how well it's going, it just feels like it could all be over tomorrow. Like there's no guarantees or anything. You're always waiting on the next gig to come in and whatnot. But I don't know. I guess just gradually over time, I maybe like 5 to 7 years in, I guess I started to make enough money that I was like, oh, okay, I think eventually I'll be able to pay all my bills with this. And then, you hope that just every year you make incrementally more money until you don't have to do other stuff anymore.
Totally.
And I feel like that was going pretty well until the pandemic and then all of the horrible inflation. And, that's another thing about the arts is that, like, I don't know, gigs sort of pay, like, a lot of gigs pay like what they paid 20 years ago.
I know.
But the cost of living is so much higher.
Totally.
So I don't know, honestly. Yeah, I'm still all the time like, is this a career? But
I know.
I seem to be doing all right, and I'm grateful for that.
I feel like that's such a comedian thing. Like, we kind of like to downplay success in any way. And I do think, though, it is something that is a career. Like, it's a career for somebody who is, like, staying hungry. Like, you have to constantly be looking for the next thing. Like, it doesn't really just come to you.
Yeah.
So I think that usually it's like people that are having success in it are like highly motivated, maybe. And I think that kind of is parallel with fitness too sometimes. Yeah,
for sure. I think the tricky thing is just maintaining that hunger and drive over a like long period of time.
Yeah.
I think maybe sometimes people think like, okay, I'll be really hungry for a while and then things will start to go well and then I won't have to work so hard. Like gigs will start to come to me and maybe things will get easier. And so far my experience is not really.
Fair enough.
It's pretty much as hard as it's always been.
Yeah.
But, you do the work more and more and then you get stronger. And even though it's just as hard as it's always been, it's easier to do because you've grown.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
Do you think that people are do you think that people who are successful, whether it's in comedy or something else, are maybe built a little differently, or is it just like making different decisions throughout life that might make them successful?
I don't know. I think success in comedy can come a lot of different ways. I think comedians as people you could describe as built differently, and that we're often kind of strange.
Yes.
And we look at the world a little bit differently than other people, which is often what makes for a good artist, is having kind of an augmented view that is interesting to look at, which can be manifested through comedy or through painting or through anything really. So yeah, I would say success in comedy is more likely for people that are built different. But there's a lot of paths.
Yeah.
Some people are not that good at it, but manage to network their way to the top. There's a lot. There's a lot of ways to go about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think some artists don't do as well because they're good at the art, but they're bad at the networking.
Sure.
Because they're kind of strange people.
Or lack the drive to like just relentlessly go out there, go after the thing. Where they're like, I know some comedians that are so unbelievably good, like way better than me, but they don't have that drive to like every week kind of reach out, do the thing. You know what I mean? They're waiting to be asked all the time, but they're so good.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's I find if you wait to be asked, you'll be waiting a long time.
Yeah.
Because so many people will ask.
Yeah.
That, most people, the reality is like most people can be a little lazy. If you have a ton of people asking you for something and it's enough people to fill the slot, are you really going to take time to dig around and go, oh, is there a better option than all of these people that are emailing me somewhere out there? Or are you just going to go, oh, great, enough people emailed me to fill all of the slots? Good. Now I don't have to go find anybody.
Totally. Okay. What's the biggest excuse, and this doesn't have to be for a particular topic, but what's the biggest excuse you've caught yourself making?
This is kind of an answer to the question. I know something like in early sobriety that I caught is just my use of the word can't.
Okay.
That's a word that I've tried to sort of eliminate over time. Is like, I would say things to myself like, oh, you can't go to the gym today, or, you can't possibly go for a walk or whatever. And I feel like, a lot of people use the word can't a lot in their brain when the reality is like, you could.
Yeah.
You absolutely
You're just
could.
choosing not to, or to find excuses or whatever.
Yeah. A little game that I used when I first got sober was I would replace the word can't with the word shouldn't. And if that sounded dumb, then I would go do the thing.
That's great.
Like, I would say to myself, like, oh, I can't go for a walk. And it's like, okay, get rid of can't and use the word shouldn't. And then try that. It's like, I shouldn't go for a walk. It's like, oh, okay, that sounds weird.
Yeah, I just don't want to.
Whereas it's like, say I said something like, I can't do cocaine anymore. It's like, okay, let's take out can't and put in shouldn't. I shouldn't do cocaine anymore. Oh, okay, that works.
Yeah,
it actually works both ways.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't do the cocaine.
Yeah.
But if you take out can't and put in shouldn't and it sounds weird, then it's like, okay, maybe you should go do that.
Yeah. I think that's great advice actually for other people.
Yeah, the can't shouldn't rule was helpful to me.
Cool.
In the early goings.
What do you think is something you see people complaining about that you think they simply need to like accept?
Yeah, I would struggle to think of a specific complaint that people, give and do too much. But I just think in general that people do complain a lot and aren't quick enough to try to place, I guess, I don't want to say the blame inward, but, like we're all kind of responsible for our own paths and things. And I think complaints to me, like it falls into kind of the realm of excuses.
Absolutely.
Where it's just like not the most productive thing that you could be doing. And I think when people complain, it's often symptomatic of a lack of gratitude, which is not good. Like, you're someone who also is in the social media sphere, right? And I find it's so funny to me, and I used to be guilty of this before I was sober. It's so funny to me how many people will leave like negative comments on things. Yeah. And as a creator, you have to be ready for that. And honestly, it's not bad for you as a creator if it happens, because then people will argue with that person and it's all good for the engagement and stuff. But it's just so funny to me to see people on social media complaining about a video, whether that it's not funny or they don't agree with it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, how much money did you pay to watch this?
Yeah, it's
like,
so
are
silly.
you being entertained for free all day on a magic rectangle from your pocket?
Yeah.
Like maybe take a second to go to like
Look
think
inward.
more broadly
Yeah.
and be like, oh, look, this person took time out of their day to create something that
Mm-hmm.
is being presented to me at no cost. You know? So
Yeah.
you know what? Maybe complaining on social media, I think, would be my biggest thing that people do way too much.
Yeah, and that they need to like accept, like look inward.
Yeah, well, I also find too, because I used to do this a lot, I would leave negative comments on things.
Really?
I would get in flame wars and all that kind of stuff. And if you're doing that, you're probably not happy.
100%.
Like, happy people aren't in the comment section, you know, taking a strip off some guy who's just trying to make a funny video.
Yeah.
Like, if you see something that isn't funny, you can just scroll past it.
Yeah.
The reality is, if you comment on it, it's actually more likely to come up in your algorithm again. So you're not doing it yourself any service by commenting, and you're putting out like negative energy into
Yeah.
the world. You know, happy people just aren't doing that.
Yeah. Or they have the awareness to like look inward and not outwardly do that. I find maybe as like an adult or as I've gotten older, I find it difficult to have people around me who like to complain or place blame for certain situations that they're in life, instead of just, again, looking inward or be like, okay, like either why is this bothering me? Why it's a you problem, I
Yeah.
find.
Yeah, for sure. As you get older, it's harder to be around people whose energy is like consistently negative.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone now and again needs like a bitch session
100%.
to get it out. But, you know, that should be kind of fewer and farther between.
Yeah.
Like if there's someone that's doing that like all the time,
No, I don't want it in my life.
It's a bad habit. I find too, when you're extremely negative, like everything is habitual, right? If you're, say, on the internet all day, making negative comments, trying to call people out for shit, you know, being negative, when you look in the mirror later at night, you're going to be negative
Yeah,
to
of
yourself.
course.
Like it's all practice and habits and
Of
stuff. So
course.
it's like if you're being negative about everything else, you're going to be negative to yourself too.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do you believe confidence comes before success and helps to like promote it, or after success?
I think confidence can certainly be boosted by success, because success is sort of affirming, you know, that you're doing a good job. But I think also success is more likely to be achieved if you have confidence prior to that. You
I
know,
completely agree.
I think people do want to see that you have kind of belief in yourself. And that, yeah, people are more likely to come along with you on the journey if it looks like you're confident that it's going somewhere.
Totally. And do you feel that success makes people happier, or that it just introduces different problems? Or, I mean, honestly, this question, I feel that it's a sliding scale. Like anytime you reach another level of success in whatever or achievement, I'm somebody that all of a sudden now the scale's changed and there's like a new goal that I'm like trying to, you know, attempt to conquer or whatever. So I've never really fully feel satisfied.
Yeah, I think both things can be true. I think that success obviously can increase your happiness and also create new problems. New problems don't necessarily need to make you less happy. But I think success can make you happier to a degree. If we're looking at success like financially, there's been studies that have been done where like people say money can't buy happiness, but it absolutely can.
Absolutely.
Like if you're making only $30,000 and then you go to all of a sudden making $100,000, you will be happier.
Of course.
Because you'll have more security. You can buy some things that previously were not in your budget. You know, you can go to events and concerts and be part of communities that previously you felt like it was not financially viable for you to be at these kinds of places. But the thing is that at a certain point, money stops making you happier and becomes kind of like redundant, you know, like someone who goes from making $100 million to making $200 million is not any happier than they were through the gaining of that money alone. And I also think that definition of success is interesting, like, because most people would say if someone has, you know, $100 million and then their company continues to do well and now they have $200 million, that they've become more successful. But I'm like, okay, well, how did you make that money? You know, did you have to decrease the quality of your product? Did you have to lay people off? You know, do you sell some kind of food and you made the packaging smaller? You know, like I think there are ways that people can, you know, gain financial success that honestly make me think of them as like less successful as human beings.
100%. And actually in episode 1, we were kind of discussing that because one of our guests, we were sitting here with the creator of Protein Chefs, and one thing like that they do not, that they don't cut any corners on is like the product, the food, the quality. And he, the first time he received Protein Chefs, literally took it out of the package. He said the first thing he did was weigh the protein because he said often with meal prep companies, they actually make the portions smaller.
Yeah.
They don't actually live up to the standard that Protein Chefs is trying to live up to. So in that sense, you're right. Like it's just, sorry, it clicked in my head from episode 1. We were literally kind of discussing that, which is cool. Do you think that social media has made comedians better or lazier?
I don't think it's made people lazier. I think that, if I'm being honest, it may have made us a little worse as far as, let's say, specifically the art of stand-up comedy. Like, I think that if you want to be really good at something, you should be doing that thing all the time as much as you can. Like athletes and stuff, they train, you know,
Hours a day.
a professional soccer player isn't spending half of his time playing basketball for fun.
Right.
You know? So I think social media has provided a lot of opportunity for comedians because it's sort of been a way around the pre-established industry where you can find a way to an audience without the help of industry people. And we've seen people blow up and have success from it. But realistically, to be active on social media, it takes up a lot of your time. Make it like, let's say I try to do 3 reels a week. It absorbs a lot of my time and it pulls a lot of my focus away from doing stand-up. And my brain is not as dedicated to this one specific task that it used to be, which means that, you know, I realistically am probably decreasing the quality of that slightly. In an ideal world for me, I don't have to do social media. When I started doing comedy, social media did not exist really. Like everyone's Facebook was still just your friends and people you knew. And like I think Twitter was like just starting. I remember learning what a hashtag was when I started comedy. And that was a really fun time to be doing comedy because all you did was comedy.
Yeah, that was the focus.
I was doing like 14 shows a week. I was on stage constantly. It was so much fun. And yeah, I wish that we had a better entertainment industry here where artists could really just focus on the art and then the industry does everything else and does a good job. But unfortunately, we don't really have that. And I think the industry across the world is becoming lazier. Whereas they used to like go out and try to find people to make into stars. Now they want you to go and get a following of 1 million people on your own, and then they'll look at you once you're already a financially viable product by yourself and actually probably don't need them for anything.
I agree.
So yeah, I wish that artists were able to focus more on the art. Even though I do think social media has had positive effects on the industry as well.
Yeah, it's a good tool, if you will. Okay. What don't you think people realize about comedians, shows, etc., when all they see are viral clips? What do you think they don't understand?
About comedians?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or maybe the profession?
Probably the most common thing is that we're not funny all the time.
Yes.
I despise meeting people and they're like, oh, you do comedy? And I'm like, yeah. And it's like 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. And they're like, oh, you don't seem that funny. And I'm
all
like,
the time.
And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, I'm just kind of existing right now. You know, I'll tell you this. If you ever meet a comedian that needs to be on all the time, they're kind of insufferable.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
It's exhausting to be around.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. It's exhausting to do, you know.
I get it sort of in even if this can be insufferable, I kind of get it in a green room because you're like getting in that mode and like hyping yourself up. And
Sure.
like, that's different.
Yeah, green
Go on
room, you're a
stage.
bunch of other comics, you're about to do a show, you know, you're kind of getting in fun mode. You're warming
Yeah.
up, you know,
Yeah.
you're warming up because you're about to do a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people sort of expect us to be like on all the time. And it's like, listen, man, I don't owe you anything.
No, I'm the opposite. And people are always like, really? Like you? I'm like, yeah. Like,
Yeah. Sometimes people will, they'll find out I do comedy and they'll be like, oh, that's cool. What's your best joke?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, my best joke, not even a joke, my best one.
Yeah.
I'm always like, not free.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people pay me to do my best joke.
also
I'm not
like-
just going to deliver it awkwardly to you in an evenly lit cafe at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Or in the back of an Uber.
Yeah, you psycho.
I hate
God,
that.
people are weird.
It's so weird. Also,
It's
I don't
so
tell
weird.
knock jokes. Like, I'm not Mitch Hedberg. I don't one-liners. I like stories. It's just,
Yeah,
it's awkward.
it's so weird.
Yeah.
Leave
okay.
us alone.
Yeah. Let us be. It's okay if you don't think I'm funny day to day. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Have you ever been on a date and the person, or like start to date someone and they're like, I'm funnier than you. Like, I don't get it. They'll literally like call me out. I'm like, well, I'm trying to be a girl on a date. I'm not trying to.
That's never happened
okay.
to me. That's a thing that you've dealt with because you deal with men, and a lot of men suck.
Very true. Thank you.
Very man thing to be like, I'm fucking funnier than you.
Feminist. Okay.
Imagine thinking you were going to get laid telling someone that.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, literally a guy I was seeing kept bringing it up. And I was like, I'm trying to be a girl here.
Yeah, men are just, some are very insecure.
It's weird. Okay. Anyway, digress. Do you think that, I think I know the answer that you'll have to this, maybe not, but do you think cancel culture is hurting or harming the comedy community?
I don't know. I'll say this. I talk about whatever I want on stage and have never faced any backlash from it.
Perfect.
I think, sometimes people will go after someone for a joke that they made or whatever. I don't know. If you go back a few decades, Lenny Bruce was literally getting arrested
Yeah.
and they were reading his jokes in court. Like, no one's getting arrested. So
Yeah.
it's certainly not as bad as it's ever been. I think that people bitch about cancel culture because it's marketable.
Sure.
They'll go, look at all these people trying to stop me from doing my art. And then like dumb people are like, yeah, let's rally around that person.
Totally.
You'll see people like, I'm on the You Can't Say That Anymore comedy tour, sold out shows in all 50 states. I'm like, how are you a millionaire from saying things that you can't say? It sounds like you can probably say them and with great financial success attached to it.
So you obviously have become extremely fit and become a runner. And we spoke a little bit about this on my podcast, Gorilla Cheeks, that some people might view your commitment to the gym and going, basically almost daily, I feel like at this point, that your commitment to the gym might be replacing one addiction with another. And you disagree with that. Explain why.
Yeah, well, I think, people who struggle with addiction have addictive personalities typically. Like, we like to do the same things all the time. So replacing something, like, people will act like, oh, well, didn't you just, like, replace drugs with fitness? And it's like, yeah, but drugs were killing me, and fitness is making it so that I will live a longer life and a happier one. Like, I don't understand how these things are even in the same, like, conversation, You
also, on my podcast, were saying that, you can call it an addiction, but it's not something like drugs and alcohol. It's like, how every day, like, let's do it, let's go. The gym, there are days where you don't really want to, but you're like, I could play this video game for 5 hours, or you know what, I should probably get up and
Yeah,
go.
for sure. It takes commitment every day to go to the gym. Like cocaine and alcohol, I was like, oh, I need this every day. And it was super compulsive. Like, every single day, it's like kind of a fight to get myself to the gym.
Yeah.
You have to win that little fight every time.
Yeah.
It's super tempting to go just lay on the couch and eat snacks and whatever,
Totally.
It's a tiny battle every time.
I have a question that kind of feels personal for me. I find that, like, my weight has fluctuated up and down as I've, throughout the last few years, figured out what balance looks like and a healthy lifestyle. I needed a break from fitness and stuff. I know that when I'm feeling more fit and comfortable in my body, I have more confidence on stage and I feel like I perform better. Do you feel that like changing your lifestyle, sobriety, fitness, feeling good in your skin has helped you on stage or in your comedy?
Definitely, I feel just more confident in my day-to-day life, or just happier, really. Like, I feel like if you're really fit, it's good for your overall mental health, right? And if you're a happier person, you're typically walking around a little bit more confident.
Sure.
And you probably have a little bit more of an infectious energy to you, like if you're happy, people will be like, oh, this man is happy. He seems like a good time. And so I think you're more likely to have like a good relationship with the audience that you're performing for.
Cool. Do you remember your first paid gig?
I think I remember my first paid gig, even though I guess technically it wasn't because it was a contest, but I won, so I made $100. I can't remember the name of the guy. He put on way too many acts on the show, and he hosted it, and he had like no comedy experience, and he started the show by talking a bunch about cancer, and then did a SpongeBob SquarePants impression, and then brought up the first act. So the show gets off to a horrible start. And I think I was up second or third, and I was the first person on the show that was like decent. Mm-hmm. And so the crowd was so grateful for me. That happens sometimes. If you followed like a couple brutal bombs on a show, some people are like, oh, that's scary. It's like, it's actually good if you're good.
Okay.
Because the crowd is there to have a good time. And now that there's finally someone with some competence, they're stoked.
Yeah.
They're stoked that you're there.
Totally.
So I had a hot set. And then I think the reason that I won is because they also did an intermission, and the show was so long that a lot of people just voted and left before the show was even done. Because the guy who was last was really good. He was better than me. But like half the crowd had left, so he couldn't possibly get as many votes. And that was, the first time I made a bit of money.
When you're bombing on stage, nobody's laughing. Like, what kind of keeps you going?
Yeah, I don't know. They're always laughing.
Exactly.
No, I'm kidding. Those still happen. I don't know. I think in the early goings, it's harder. Mm-hmm. You just sort of need pure grit and determination.
Yeah.
After you've been doing comedy for a while, it's like, you've had enough good shows that you're not horrible at the thing. Mm-hmm. The reality is, as your career progresses, bombing will happen much less than it does in your early career, but it still will happen occasionally and should, really, because you do need to be working on new stuff and working on your art and trying things. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, you take a risk and it doesn't pay off and you have like a rough set, and that's okay.
Yeah. Which is like totally parallel to like any other business or successful business. There's similarities of when it's not going well, maybe reinvent. Yeah. You have to have grit.
And it's hard sometimes because, you just have to remember, like, I'm not actually bad at this. I know I can have good sets. Sometimes it's hard for your ego because you're like, well, there's people in the room that have only seen me this one time.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Their impression of me is just this one experience. And they're going to walk around forever thinking that I suck at this, probably.
Totally.
But yeah, you just have to focus on you. And I think that you should be having a bomb here and there when you're really trying some interesting new material or, making a stylistic change and messing around with your art.
Totally.
You always want to keep growing and changing.
And be self-reflective about it. Or sometimes, like, if it's happening, I find it almost is like it kickstarts something in me. Like, while I'm on stage, it's like, I'm going to turn this around. Like, you got to turn it around. Mm-hmm. And that can be like an empowering feeling. And then just sort of remembering that can kind of happen too. And that's happened before.
For sure. And I think over time you learn to bomb gracefully.
Sure.
Like really bombing, I feel like can only be achieved if you are uncomfortable on stage. That's when shit gets really awkward. Oof. When people can see that you're uncomfortable and you're feeling awkward, then they feel awkward. Like how the audience feels is often a reflection of how you are feeling.
100%.
So if you can remain cool and calm, even though a joke doesn't go very well, you can still kind of keep the ball in the air. Like if you do a joke and it doesn't land, you can go, okay, well, that one was new and you guys could tell. Nice job. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't sneak those ones in on you guys.
Totally.
Just little things like that to just acknowledge what's going on in the room and present yourself as still like calm and having a good time, and everything's chill.
Yeah, totally. And I guess that sort of can tie back into blaming others for, or being negative, like, or complaining, like we were saying before, putting the blame on other people. I've seen a lot of comedians, like, mid-set, just start, like, attacking the audience for not laughing.
Yeah, that rarely goes well.
No, never. And then you're kind of ruining it for the next person going up in a way.
Yeah, it can create a pretty negative vibe. Yeah. And it's like, listen, they're here, they paid, what more do you want from them? Yeah. Sometimes it's not your day. And a lot of the times when I see people turn on the audience, it's like, okay, well, you were doing pretty not polished material, or like, took a gamble on some offensive stuff or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. You got to try to look inward.
Absolutely. So you've been very open about your sobriety. Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious to know, like, why make something so personal so public?
I'm pretty public with my sobriety, mostly because I just want to destigmatize it as much as I can. A lot of people never get help. A lot of people never get help and they die, is the reality of addiction. And the reason that people don't get help is because there's a stigma around being an addict, and people feel shame. Mm-hmm. And they're ashamed to admit that they have a problem, and they're ashamed to admit that they need help. So I just try to wear it as much as I can, so that if someone who is struggling is out there, they, see that it's not a huge deal. So I'll add that I'm an addict to content that doesn't need it. Like, I do cooking videos, and I call it Cooking with an Addict. The videos have nothing to do with the fact that I'm an addict. It's just a cooking video. Yeah. But I put it out there just so, if someone's watching and they're having an addiction problem, they might start to think about, okay, well, this guy turned it around. Maybe I can do that too. Yeah. Because, a lot of people are afraid to talk about it. But, as a comedian, like, you get it. I embarrass myself in front of rooms full of people constantly. Yeah. I'm not shy. And it's not hard for me to talk about it. And for a lot of people, it is hard to talk about it. So if it's easy for me, then I'm like, well, I should do that.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's super inspiring. It's nice to lift people up like that, I think, and just give a voice to people that might be uncomfortable speaking about it and destigmatize it, like you were saying. Has there been one or many moments along your sobriety journey that you're, like, most proud of?
Oh, yeah, probably a bunch, I guess. Although, yeah, I struggle with pride. I think maybe similar to you were saying earlier, like, you'll achieve a certain level of success and then right away you're kind of like, what's the next thing? Mm-hmm. I can be a little like that, where if I achieve something, I'm like, okay, great, done, checkpoint.
Totally.
What's the next thing? But I'm definitely proud of the special that came out. Like, that, so much visualization and effort went into that. Like, to be able to run for 12 hours on a treadmill took 9 straight months of, like, rigorous training. And I was, like, in shape at the start of that 9 months. It wasn't like I was going from being like some bum to, it was like I already was fit enough to run a marathon, and it took 9 months of cranking up the intensity from there. Yeah. And I really had to bet on myself with that, because no one in the history of the world had ever done it. There's no precedent for it, and it might not have gone well. I had to just focus so hard for 9 straight months. It was pretty much the only thing I thought about for 9 straight months. And everything, went great. So I would say that would be my proudest moment, I suppose. That and making it through rehab. Totally. That was really hard.
I mean, I would, we don't know each other that well, but I would say, like, and I have not known you through the, almost all of your journey through sobriety, but I'm most proud of you for utilizing the special as something, like, to, educate people, to raise money and donate it, like, back to the community, like, back to the rehab center that helped you. I think that's something to be incredibly proud of.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. How bad was your diet when you first started doing comedy?
Oh, bad, because I was 18. I was 18 years old when I started doing comedy, and I was in college. So you know how some people put on, like, the freshman 15, they call it? I put on probably, like, the freshman 40, I think. Because I was used to my, like, teenager metabolism, totally. Right? Like, when I was, like, 14 and, your body's still growing and stuff, I just ate trash all the time. Like, I would get home from school, eat 2 frozen pizzas, then have dinner. I was eating Taco Bell all the time, and I still had like a 6-pack and shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then
That's just from the diarrhea from the Taco Bell.
yeah, that does help actually. Bit of a laxative. But then you get to college and you're unsupervised, and like I was only eating bad meals. Like at least when I was living with my parents, I would eat some healthy
Right.
food. But now I was just eating like
Quick.
just like honey buns and Hungry Man TV dinners. Like a lot of those. I loved Hungry Man
Salisbury
TV
steak,
dinners.
Hungry Man
Yeah,
TV
big
dinner.
time. All that kind of stuff. And at the time, I had my summer job was that I was a sports writer for BleacherReport.com. I was in
Okay.
their MMA section. So I was just writing for like 8 hours a day on my couch and not moving around and eating the worst food. And yeah, I remember one day I was on the bus and we went over like a speed bump and I just felt my body go like, "Kudunk." I was like, what is that? Is it, it's hard to, I guess, see it when you're getting, I
Yeah.
thought I couldn't get fat.
Yeah.
Like the amount that I used to eat and what my metabolism was like, I was like, oh, I'm not someone who gets fat. And it turns out everyone is
Oh my God.
to some degree. And yeah, I had put on, like right now, I am like 160 pounds with a lot of muscle on me. And at that time, I was like 191 pounds with probably 15 pounds less muscle than this.
Yeah.
So I got chonky.
That's
Yeah.
chonky.
Yeah.
I feel you. I kind of did the same because I had stopped skating because it was my first knee surgery too.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. And Hungry Man TV dinners, oh my God.
I still love
Respect.
those. Like once a year,
You
I'll
have
get
to
one.
try Protein Chefs because it's basically like the most elite 5-star version of that.
Yeah.
Times 1,000.
I bet. I'm sure it's great. I still want that horrible Hungry Man once a year, though. There's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
about that
It's just like
microwave
occasionally
brownie.
wanting like a Big Mac or something. It's
Yeah.
just like that craving that you have that you just
Yeah.
need to kind of fulfill once in a
Yeah,
while.
now and then I need the poison.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, I get it. I think everyone's sort of like that. So obviously your relationship with food has changed over the years. And I don't know how you feel about this. I struggled with it in the beginning, but when you're traveling and performing late at night, obviously your nutrition kind of suffers. What do you think the hardest part, how should I word this? What's the hardest part of eating healthily when you're like traveling and on the road?
Yeah, I guess just eating healthily. Like it's you don't have access to your regular grocery store and whatnot. Like, and often you don't have access to much refrigerator space or a kitchen. So you sort of have to eat things that are like pre-made. So yeah, I don't know. When I'm on the road, I do a lot of like protein shakes and protein bars and stuff. But at least, you're getting the protein. Hitting your protein goals is such a huge pain in the ass. I hate it.
100%. For my like biggest challenge is just if you have however many shows a week, it's just the late night. Like in my earlier days, I would be starving after a show because I struggled to eat like a meal before performing. And then the only things that are open late at night are pizza and fast food and like garbage. So that's why this is like a pre-made already meal, like for me is perfect. It just satisfies you, put it in the microwave, whatever.
Yeah.
Satisfies me and it's healthy and I don't feel like shit and I don't beat myself up after.
That's good because late night. That's another thing is that late night food. Like not a lot of healthy places, or it's hard to get a poke bowl at 1 o'clock in the morning.
You can't.
It's always like right next to my house. There's like Taco Bell, Popeyes, and A&W are like the 3 late night options.
Yeah.
All like similarly nuclear.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Don't get me wrong. I love all those things, but you can't be doing it
No.
all the time.
Oh, because before you know it, it's freshman 40.
Yeah,
You didn't even
big time.
realize it.
We're not going back to that.
Do you think people underestimate how much nutrition affects their mood and energy?
Big time. Yeah, it makes such a difference. The happiest I've ever been is when I'm eating clean and exercising. Lately my diet, because I exercise so much, I have a bad habit of being more lenient about my diet because I know that I'm going to burn it off anyway. That's one thing about being a runner is like, it's not hard for me to go to the gym and run for 1 hour and make it like 8.5 miles and burn like 1,100 calories. For me, that's actually kind of like an easy day, which means that I can have a fair bit of sugar and stuff and still look quite lean, but it does affect your brain, eating garbage. When I first got out of rehab, I was having a smoothie for breakfast every day. And then for lunch, I would have avocado toast with eggs. And then for dinner, I would have fish, rice, and broccoli. And I did that almost every day for like 6 months, along with going to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. And my mental health was through the roof.
That's
I felt
amazing.
so good. Yeah, how you fuel your body is so important. Even when I went through a phase when I was first exercising where I was going really hard. I was working out so much, and I was expecting to feel happier, but I kind of felt like shit all the time.
Because you weren't fueling enough.
Yeah, and I talked
Yeah.
to my friend who owns a gym, and he was like, well, how much protein are you getting? And I was like, I have no idea. I've never thought about that one time in my life. And he was like, oh, yeah, well, you're probably just not getting anywhere near
or
enough protein.
carbs too.
Yeah.
to fuel
And
that
yeah, I didn't realize that, like when you're bulking, what do they say? Like typically you want to have like 1 gram of protein per pound that you weigh per day.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, when I'm a smaller man,
Yeah.
I got to get 160 grams of protein. It's like you can't hit that goal without thinking about it. You're not going to accidentally eat 160 grams of protein a day. I promise you that.
I remember when I first started bodybuilding, when I was fitness modeling and stuff, and just the idea of needing to hit my protein goal, I was like, how? Like, I think for people that haven't like really locked into their nutrition before, see that number and they're like, that's an impossibility. Or they just don't even realize how little protein they're actually eating until you start to track it.
For sure. 'Cause some people are like, oh, you need a lot of protein. What do? You eat a bunch of eggs or something? I'm like, eggs? And don't get me wrong, eggs are great. 6 grams of protein per egg.
Yeah.
I could eat 12 eggs a day. That would bring me up to 72 grams of protein. That's still a little bit less than half of what I need. If I wanted to get my protein from just eggs, I would have to eat 25 eggs every day.
Oof.
It's like,
That makes me feel so sick to myself.
yeah, you got to be eating like 8 eggs, 2 chicken breasts, throw in a protein shake, Greek yogurt.
Totally.
It's a full-time job eating enough protein.
Yeah,
Absurd.
100%. What's one food habit you've changed that made the biggest difference in your life?
I think removing caffeine, probably. I miss it for sure. I was a big coffee guy, and I wouldn't go too crazy, but I would probably have like 2 large coffees a day.
Sure.
And then maybe sometimes 1 at night even. I was
Ooh,
starting to get real
spicy.
slutty with the caffeine,
yeah.
which is one of the reasons I wanted to stop. I was like, I'm treating it like drugs a little bit. Like
Yeah.
it would be like 10 o'clock and I'd be like, what if I got an iced coffee right now at 10 p.m.? Wouldn't that be naughty?
Crazy.
But yeah, I was reading about how like caffeine can contribute negatively to your anxiety.
So many things.
And I just like was feeling anxious a lot. It was actually leading up to my special that I quit because I was so anxious about how it was going to go.
Got it.
And there was so many things to prepare. And I had such like good reasons to be anxious that I was like, I can't have like some substance in my body like multiplying that. So I decided to cut it out, and I got a pretty bad headache inside of like 24 hours. And if you cut something out of your diet and you get like a headache almost right away, it's like, okay, it probably wasn't very good for me if I'm having like withdrawal.
100%.
So yeah, I miss it. Thankfully, so many places now do like decaf Americanos, which I'm sure have like a little bit of caffeine in them still, but I no longer experience the anxiety or anything. And that's been a big positive change for me.
I mean, it also, like, I remember on like prep for shows, you're just so depleted and lacking energy, and you need to go get like all of your workouts in the day, whether it's cardio, whatever you're doing. And I think that a lot of people become so reliant on caffeine to the point where, with like pre-workout, coffee, whatever it is, that often you kind of need to do a reset, like an adrenal reset, because it affects your adrenal system so negatively, because caffeine is one of those things where you just need to keep having more and more and more for it to have like the same effect that you're seeking, right?
For sure. And it's a hard one to quit because no one cares when you do.
Yeah.
You can totally drink a ton of caffeine and no one cares and thinks you have a problem. No one's like, man, you got to drink less coffee. And when you give it up, no one's like, congratulations. It's not like quitting cocaine or something when people are like, good for you, dude. Honestly, when you tell people that you've quit caffeine, they're often a bit annoyed.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we already talked about that. Have you tried meal prep before, and has it made your life any easier?
Just sometimes, I'll buy large quantities of something and, make like a bunch of ground beef with rice and broccoli, or make like a huge chili or a big soup. Often in the winter, I'm better about meal prep.
It's
In the
easy
summer,
crock
it's just
pot
like,
food.
yeah, in the summer, it's just gets hot in my apartment, so I don't want to cook as much.
Fair.
But yeah, I'll do sometimes big batch stuff like chilies and whatnot. One time I tried a meal prep for service, like just my friend who lived down the street forgot to cancel his and he was out of town and there was just a box of frozen food on his porch. And he was like, "Do you just want that?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then later he was like, "Yeah, so just like send me like $25." And I was like, "I'm gonna kill you." But anyway, I forget which service it was, but I wouldn't have used it because it was like a pork chop with potato salad, but the pork chop was like this
That
big,
big.
and then the potato salad, it was like so much potato salad. I was like, okay, this
And
is.
he obviously wasn't paying much for it if he's asking for $25 too.
I think that was him being like, it was more expensive than
a-
this, but if you
yeah.
just want to give me $25, and I was like, listen, man, it was just sitting on your porch and it was gonna spoil in the sun. I don't
Yeah.
want to give you money for this.
Yeah. What's your, I mean, I don't like to see food as like weakness. I mean, I guess we kind of covered this. You love Taco Bell occasionally. What's like your biggest food weakness?
Sugar, sweets, baked goods. I am a baked goods guy.
We
I
love a
like to
baked
eat
good.
donuts. I like butter tarts a lot.
Oof.
I like a cookie if it's done well, although I'm a bit of a snob. A lot of cookies are pretty mediocre. But I do crave sugar a lot. And I like to get it in the form of baked goods and stuff like that. Like, I won't have like a full sugar pop or something. Like when someone's like, "Hey, do you want this pop?" And I'm like, "There's like 30 grams of sugar in that. Do you have any idea how many donuts I could eat
Yeah,
instead of having this pop?"
100%.
You know?
100%.
No chance.
I for some reason stopped craving sugar for like a while, and then I just had my mom's birthday and I ordered this like beautiful cake, and I had the biggest piece for her birthday, which again, like I don't really eat sweets anymore for whatever reason. My body's just not craving them. And then literally the next day, immediately I was like, I'm having cake for lunch. It's just
Yeah.
like it's also kind of addictive.
It can turn right back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
well, your body for sure craves it. That's why so many people who quit alcohol they end up with these crazy sugar cravings because alcohol has a ton of sugar in it.
Yeah. Converts to sugar.
But yeah, I love a cake, love a pie.
Ooh, go-to pie. Favorite?
Go-to pie is tough. I always want to say pecan. Pecan almost feels like cheating because it's essentially a giant butter tart,
Yeah, it is.
you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I love a pecan.
Okay.
And then if I had to pick in the fruit pie world,
Choose carefully.
I might be, lately I feel like a blueberry guy.
I think blueberry or strawberry rhubarb are elite.
Strawberry rhubarb is very good. I really do like an apple pie when someone nails it.
But it has to be the right kind of apple pie.
Yeah, when an apple pie is really good, it hits so hard. But I find sometimes like the apples will be either like undercooked
Or
or
they
like
won't
too
cut
mushy.
out the middle part well enough, and there's like you get the like little leftover, like, you know, of the core, like have you ever had that before?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just immediately, it's like the same experience as like when you're eating chicken and it starts tasting like chicken. That kind of a vibe. I'm like,
Yeah, I feel you. So yeah, apple pie when nailed is right up there. But I do find a lot of apple pies are so.
Yeah, I concur with that. If someone opened your fridge right now, what would they find?
Chaos. Pure goddamn chaos.
Okay.
I live with two other men and we have one fridge.
Oh, God.
And I'm super disorganized when it comes to fridge. I'm not good at it. Also, I've started buying eggs in a flat. Like I buy I think it's like 36 eggs at the same time, but you can't store it any other way than flat. So it like takes up a ton of space in there. And I'm always like, I'm so bad for like, I'll be out and I'll be doing groceries and I'll be like, do we have mustard? And I'll be like, screw it, just buy a mustard. You know, it doesn't go bad or anything. And then all of a sudden there's like 4 mustards in the fridge.
Yeah, I just did that.
Yeah, I'm really, really horrible about that. I'm very bad with fridge organization.
You gotta make a list.
Yeah.
I say that, I don't do it.
Yeah. I should always like check the fridge before I leave to see what's already in there. But instead I'm like, I wonder if we have that. In case we don't, I'll buy more.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
I can be so lazy. I can be ordering groceries and be like, oh yeah, I need this. And then go to put it in the fridge and be like, I could have just gotten up and looked in the fridge and I didn't. That's like another level of like lazy.
Yeah, I feel you.
Do you think eating healthy is actually expensive, or do people just prioritize spending differently?
It certainly can be expensive, but it doesn't need to be. My move is I shop at a lot of like I avoid kind of like big box stores in general. You'll never catch me in like a Loblaws or a No Frills most of the time, unless I really can't find something and they have it. But I usually go to like an Asian grocery store. I'll go to there's a Portuguese butcher in my neighborhood that is cheap. And, you know, if you want to eat ribeye and stuff and like grapes, you know, yeah, eating healthy is expensive. But I went through a phase where, yeah, I was like a little tight on money. So I was eating a lot of like chicken hearts, super cheap. Chicken in general, I mean, I find not too bad, especially if you buy it like not totally butchered. Like the Portuguese butcher near me has like double breasts of chicken that are still on the carcass, and it's like super cheap. It's like I'll get 2 chicken breasts for like $7. Potatoes, if you don't cook them in a ton of fat, are actually pretty good for you. Cost nothing. Onions are good for you. They're cheap.
True.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that's pretty good for you that doesn't cost a lot of money. You just have to be, you know, tactful.
Totally. I mean, I struggle to, like, I have ADHD, and just having the forethought to cook and like meal prep a meal before I go to a show so that I can have it after, I struggle. So that's why like meal prep's been kind of good for me, like just purchasing it. But obviously, in a perfect world, that wouldn't cost much, but it can. Like in a perfect world, would you prefer to get prepped meals for you to save time over like doing groceries and cleaning and cooking and all of that?
Maybe. But I am a pretty good cook. Like I've worked in restaurants a lot, and I'm pretty organized about like I can be cooking and doing dishes at the same time. And often by the time I'm done cooking, I've already done most of the dishes and stuff like that. But yeah, like an affordable service, I would think about it for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to backtrack for a second and say, while it is possible to eat cheap, I do think that we do get absolutely gouged on our groceries in this country. I do think that the price of food here is like completely unreasonable, and people are right to be upset about it. But I just also think that inside of this unfair system that we live in, that it is possible to eat healthy and cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, as long as you have the time to prepare it and you enjoy, like, I don't get a lot of enjoyment over cooking for myself. I like to cook when it's for others and create recipes and try recipes and that kind of thing.
That is the most fun.
When you're sharing it with somebody, I feel no motivation to do that for myself for some reason.
Yeah, when I cook for myself, it's very bare bones. Like I'll get like one of those double chicken breasts. I'll get like a sweet potato. I'll dice it up. I'll get some broccoli, and I'll literally just put aluminum foil on a baking sheet and put all of those things on the baking sheet and put it in the oven.
Totally.
And that way I just have like the one baking sheet to clean.
Totally.
Yeah, I eat super, super simple and clean when I'm just cooking for myself. But yeah, I love to get funky when I'm having people over for dinner.
100%. It's so much more fun. Okay, I'm curious to know, what's one nutrition myth that you believed for years that turned out to be completely wrong, total bogus?
I think the big one of our lifetime was probably that fat makes you fat.
Totally.
Like that was a huge, I feel like early 90s thing, like smear campaign from sugar. Like Big Sugar was like, let's tell everyone that fat makes you fat. Because it's easy to believe. You're like, yes, fat makes you fat.
You will have high cholesterol.
That seems linear. Yeah. So like, but sugar's way worse for you than like processed sugar is like the worst thing you can put in your body probably.
Like even the milk campaigns.
Like I remember as a kid, like my parents were so about like boneless, skinless chicken, which the bones, I'm like, why? Like other than pure convenience, but it's just flavor and like it's good for you, collagen, etc. But they'd be like, oh, the skin, that's fatty. We can't have that. So they'd buy this boneless, skinless chicken, and then it's so flavorless and shitty that you've got to cover it in barbecue sauce, which is like so pure sugar. Yeah. It's like, I think the chicken skin would have been way better for me.
Yeah.
I think sugar's smear campaign against fat was probably the biggest food myth of our lifetime.
Do you think successful people treat food as fuel more than entertainment?
I don't know.
I think it can be both.
Yeah, I think both is possible. I definitely, since I've become sober, treat food more like fuel than I used to. But I still have a lot of fun with food. It's just like I will like slam protein shakes and stuff like that just to make sure. Like sometimes I'm like inhaling something just because I know that I need the protein and the calories or whatever. But I still make sure at least one meal a day I like sit down and really enjoy it. And it is, yeah. Typically my last one. One food habit that is apparently not good that I've never been able to kick is eating right before bed. I love eating right before bed.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite thing to do.
Happy belly.
Yeah.
Down, full belly.
Well, it's just that I really do like eating so much, and I find it harder to enjoy it if I know that then I have to go do something right away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like there to still be things that I have to do and achieve that day. I love it when everything is done.
Yeah.
And I can just be like, the only thing that I have left to do today is sit here and enjoy this thing, whatever it is, and like, you know, usually throw on a TV show or something. And that's my little me time and my little reward for like a successful, productive day.
That's what I'm the exact same way. Like I was saying, I cannot eat dinner and then go do a show like an hour, 2 hours later. I can't do it. I usually have like a later lunch or whatever. And I always need to, all of a sudden, as soon as the show is done, it hits me that I'm like hungry.
Yeah.
And that's when I sit down and have like the most enjoyable meal of the day, let's say. And then same thing, kind of wind down, go to bed.
Yeah.
Little protein shifts.
Yeah. That's the best.
Totally. Okay. Before we wrap up, couple of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Okay. And that doesn't need to be long-winded.
Okay.
Okay. Coffee or sleep?
Sleep. Big time.
Know this. Cheat meal or cheat day?
Cheat day, I think, is most optimum, but I'm more of a cheat meal guy in my execution.
Got it. It's kind of hard. Early show or late show?
Early show. I did a show recently for AA at 6 p.m. and it was the best.
Oh my God.
I wish every show was at like 4 in the afternoon.
Oh my God. When I was on the road opening for someone, we were doing 2 shows a night and they were selling out. So we did on one day a 4 p.m. show. That was kind of rough.
It can be
like middle of the day, like.
Yeah, it depends on the venue. I mean, you wouldn't want there to be like windows and stuff. If you're doing a show like that, ideally in the basement.
Yeah.
Too much light in a room makes a show tough. But I find I perform more often now for like AA groups and stuff like that. And like, it doesn't matter what time of day you do it because they don't need a few drinks in them to have like a good time. You know, sometimes for people an early show is tough because they need a couple drinks to loosen up.
Sure.
And that hasn't happened yet. So they're still a bit tight. But AA crowds are ready to go.
I love that. I remember doing, it was on Valentine's Day. I had 2 separate shows. And the first show was at like, I think it was like 3 p.m., huge windows in a brewery.
Ugh.
I was like, who's trying to slam back beers 3 p.m.? Like, it was. But actually, you know what? It went well. I was surprised.
Yeah.
It was good. Okay. Bombing on stage or bombing on a first date?
Bombing on stage.
You prefer?
Prefer.
Got it. Okay. Funniest celebrity you've met?
Funniest celebrity that I've met. I don't think I've met that many, embarrassingly enough.
No, let's...
I guess, I think Justin Long.
Yeah.
I only met him briefly. Meat is generous.
Okay.
This was when I was like 18, and I was new to Toronto, and we went to TIFF and like stood at the red carpet to try to like meet celebrities and get a picture with them. But we were also like past the door where they went inside, so people were signing stuff for people, but no one was coming over to us because we were like too far. And Justin Long, by and large, signed the most things out of anybody.
That's
he like
nice.
didn't want to go inside. He was constantly like grabbing things, and he would go inside and then he would run back out and sign a few more. He was making like a whole bit out of it. He was being super fun. He even like grabbed some woman's dog and went inside with it and came back. He was being like so hilarious and so nice. And then like as he was finally going in, I was like so sheepishly, I was like, what about us over here? Nobody comes over here. And I didn't think he was going to hear me. And he just like looked right at me and he was like, what? And I was like, nobody's been coming over here. And he was like, okay. And then he came over and took a photo with me. He seemed like the nicest dude.
Okay, shout out Justin Long.
Yeah.
One person, this is like such like a calling someone out. One person you'd love to roast for 5 minutes. Other than me.
I don't know. I would say I don't have a specific name, but really only people that I like. I
Yeah.
think this culture of roast battles that has risen in the last few years misses the original intent of roasts.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a bunch of people who know each other really well doing it out of respect. It's a way
Totally.
to celebrate someone.
Yeah.
The idea of a roast is I am saying these horrible things to you because we know we're good
Yes.
and because I know you so well that I am the only person that can talk to you like this and that knows you well enough to come up with these kinds of things
Yeah, and knows-
about you.
yeah, and knows that
it's meant to be about love.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these roast shows are like, hey, I paired you with this person you've never met. Here's like 5 things about them. Okay,
Yeah.
you know?
They've been arrested. They've done it's crazy, some of the stuff. I don't like roast because I don't, nowadays it feels like being like mean for mean's sake or something. It's just like a lot when it's not
Yeah,
done
like
well.
roast having a roast done to you is meant to be almost like a lifetime achievement. You know, it's like you've become such a figure that we're gonna roast you. It's not supposed to happen to everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do like the exercise of roast writing. I think I'm good at it and I enjoy it as a practice. But yeah, I'm like, I would only want to roast like people that I know
Yeah.
who I could have fun with it. I don't want to like meet somebody and then and I'm not even really comfortable around them. And I just have to come up with the most nuclear mean shit that I could possibly think of to
Yes.
say to them.
It's crazy.
Not my vibe.
Yeah, same. Okay. Well, okay, antagonist this. One person you'd never roast. Somebody you don't know. Somebody off the street I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, I guess like I don't like roasting people that that I don't know. Honestly, just anyone sensitive. I don't have a specific name in mind, but you know, I think to be roasted, you have to be a certain kind of person. You need to have a thick skin and you need to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And some people don't have that.
Yeah.
And I would hate to be on a roast battle show and get matched with someone who doesn't actually have a thick skin and
Yeah.
like genuinely hurt their feelings, because that's not what it's like supposed to be about.
No, totally. I think just someone. It's better when it's someone who's like self-aware of the things that are funny about themselves.
Totally. Like I've been on a bunch of roasts and I love laughing at myself.
Me too.
Tons of embarrassing things have happened to me in my life, and a lot of them are very mockable, and I'm cool with it. But yeah, some people can't hang like that.
Yeah, that's okay. If you weren't a comedian, what would you be doing?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe chef. I might be a cook. I do like to cook. I've worked in kitchens a little bit. I'm glad I don't have that lifestyle. It's so much work.
tough.
One of the things I like about being a comedian is that the shifts are short. You know, like it takes a lot of writing and stuff behind the scenes, but that's all make your own schedule kind of stuff. I love cooking, but I don't love cooking for 100 people every day.
Yeah.
You know, and just the long hours and always being in there and the pressure and everything.
Totally.
But that's where I might have ended up, just based on the fact that that's like one of 3 skills that I have.
Okay, fair enough.
I can pretty much do comedy, I can run, and I can cook.
Cool.
And that's about it.
I mean, 3 good things. What does no excuses mean to you?
I guess just like showing up and doing it anyway. You know, I think I as a person try to be someone who always shows up and just believes that I can do things even if I'm tired. Like it's very rare, and this might even be a flaw that I have. I'm not necessarily saying that it's good, but you know, I know a lot of people where like the odds of them canceling on something is like, let's say medium to high. You know, there are people that often are like, you know what, I'm just too tired. I need a mental health day. And you know, maybe that's good. Maybe that, you know, that kind of rest for them is super necessary.
Yeah.
But I try to be of the mindset of like, yes, you can. Yes, you can do that. Someone, you know, asked me if I can be somewhere to do something. I try to say yes and really pack my schedule with stuff and always be showing up for people and always doing the thing. And I have a lot of, faith in my ability and the amount of energy that I have to do that.
That's great. It's because you fuel yourself properly and stuff. Okay, we're going to be wrapping up, but if millions of people watch this interview, what's one message you'd want them to remember?
I guess the community is important. That's kind of like what my special was about, if I can circle it back to that. Like, obviously, the whole day was like a metaphor for addiction, like I mentioned. But also, more broadly than that, the day was like a metaphor for the importance of community, you know, because an audience is essentially a small community of people. And I think sometimes people underestimate the importance of the energy that we share with each other in our day-to-day lives in whatever little communities that we're a part of. Like when you're a comedian, your energy on stage is largely informed by the energy of the audience. You know, you've been on stage in front of a hot crowd before, right? Like it's, you know,
the best.
when people are really focused and attentive and captive and listening to you, it really informs how you perform. You feel more confident. You feel like, okay, these people are really here for the show, and you give a little extra. You know, it comes
100%.
it comes out of you. But when you're on stage and you're performing and you can see people are checking their phones, you know, you see little side table conversations happening, you know, it's a little deflating.
Of course it
you're
is.
Still, you know, some people are laughing, okay, you're still having fun, but you're a little like, oh, okay, they don't seem to care. They don't seem to care. All of a sudden, you know, you care a little less. So what I wanted to do with the special was really put my full trust in the audience to supply the energy that I needed to perform by completely draining myself of all of the energy in my body. I made it so that I essentially had nothing left to give, and it was 100% on them to be the show's battery and kind of fuel me
Your community.
through the performance.
Yeah, leaning on your community like that.
Leaning on the community and trusting them to have my back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Andrew Barr, do you have any upcoming, like, Andrew Barr, if people wanted to come see you perform, do you have any upcoming dates, tours, or anything you'd like to promote?
Sure. I'm always on the road a little bit. I would say the thing I should most promote probably is that I'll be on the West Coast a little bit this summer, which is very rare for me. But you can catch me in, where am I? I'm in Saskatoon on August 21st, and I've got some dates in Vancouver and Victoria the following weekend. I'm around there from like August 28th to September 5th, and you can find the specific dates on my Instagram. And then most of all, I just want to plug, please watch the special.
Yeah.
Please watch my special. So much work went into it.
It's so amazing.
So please check that out if you have the time. Andrew Barr Goes Nowhere on YouTube. It'll be the first thing that pops up. And if you have the time to like and subscribe and leave a little comment, all that shit is really helpful in the algorithm.
Totally. And where can people find you on socials?
On socials, on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, I am Andrew Barr Comedy.
All right, this has been No Excuses Club by Protein Chefs. I'm your host, Genevieve Dubé. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next time.